On a full moon night, a young girl runs scared through a forest. She stumbles upon traps but is fortunately not hurt, as they were not set for her. Nearby, a family is preparing their home for the night. The father locks up the house, fearing some evil. The mother gives her son Charles a protective necklace and joins her husband, who is guarding the entrance with a weapon. "Hello, Nacho here, and welcome back again." Suddenly, the young girl knocks on their door, asking for help. In response, the father shoots in her direction, causing her to dodge the bullets. Soon after, a beast appears, trying to enter the house, which frightens young Charles. He watches as his father shoots at the creature that terrorizes them, even throwing a horse's head into the living room. Unfortunately, the bullets miss the beast, which soon invades the family's home and quickly kills Charles's parents. As the beast approaches Charles, he activates a mechanism that causes the chandelier to fall from the ceiling onto the creature. Afterward, the boy sets fire to the house to burn it down. The beast. After the young one departs, the body of the werewolf transforms into the young girl from before, revealing that she was the creature. 25 years later, in a bar, we see adult Charles, who listens to stories told by a man about an incident where his horse was attacked by a monstrous creature, leaving the animal with only 2 legs. The fact makes people smile, but suddenly, some individuals enter the establishment claiming there was a cruel attack in their village by a werewolf of unmatched ferocity. A woman named Kazia says it can't be true since the full moon was the day before. Charles stands up and takes the reward flyer for the capture or death of the beast, discovering that the massacre occurred in the village of Draviku, which was ravaged by the beast. Meanwhile, bodies are scattered on the floor of the place, but one of them is transforming. In another location, a young man named Daniel wakes up and opens the windows of his house. He gets ready and finds his mother, named Vidoma. He says goodbye to her and goes to meet the doctor he works with. Back with Charles's group, we learn that he is part of the werewolf hunters. 2 of them, Fong and Nicholas, question the attack on the night after the full moon, believing it could be true, but the other 2, Stefan, a blade lover, and Kezia, are not so sure about these facts. Meanwhile, Charles loads his weapon and then heads toward the village. Back with young Daniel, before meeting the doctor, he stops by the house where his friend, the young Eva, lives. However, he cannot talk much because the girl's father, Mr. Zarka, is very suspicious. The man points his gun at Daniel, forcing him to leave his property. Moments later, the young Eva goes to the meeting place to find Daniel, and entering a cave, she looks for her friend. He briefly startles her, but soon after, the 2 talk a little. Daniel is a lower-class young man, but admired by Eva for being very smart. After a moment of friendship, they decide to part, with Eva returning home while Daniel goes to meet the doctor. They do not notice that, next to the cave entrance, under some foliage, a dead human body is rotting. Charles's group is heading toward their destination when they come across a carriage coming toward them, and seeing it, they realize that all the people inside have been attacked and are dead. The group continues on and sees another carriage up ahead, this time destroyed and with more dead people. Nicholas says it was the dreaded beast that, even after the full moon, continues to transform and feed for the next 3 days. One of the men left whole and alive stands up and is cursed to become a werewolf, so before that happens, Charles shoots and kills him. Then, Kazia burns the bodies. In the village of Draviku, the survivors collect the remains left of the dead. Daniel arrives at the place and goes to the doctor, where he talks about what he discovered and says there are most likely more than one beast. Daniel helps the doctor with the patients who are injured. One of them, upon entering, has one of his arms severely injured as if he had been brutally bitten, but he and his wife claim it was from a threshing machine. However, upon examining the man, the doctor notices a canine tooth in the wounds, and the frightened patients say it was not the werewolf. The wife asks if they can help her husband, and the doctor, knowing the danger of being bitten by a werewolf, shoots the man's, thus killing him. They let the woman say goodbye to the deceased's body and go outside. They see people heading for a meeting with everyone in the village, where the local police will speak. The doctor asks young Daniel to go and listen to what they have to say. Inside the place, there is a commotion because a solo hunter captured and killed the beast that frightened the village. The man, after presenting the possible creature wrapped in a sheet and hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the hall, asks Sheriff Orban to pay for the reward. However, before he can make the payment, a shot knocks the creature down from the ceiling, and it is revealed to be just a dead wolf with branches on its head to resemble the beast. Charles introduces himself and says he can capture the evil that is scaring everyone in the village, but the amount will be higher than what they are paying since they have expenses. The sheriff says he only proposes a certain amount, but is contested by someone in Charles's group, who states that Hunter Charles has killed more than a dozen werewolves and trusts him with his own life. However, the sheriff says he does not accept raising the amount, so Charles laments the loss of people and stands up to leave. Fearing the creature will return and do what it has done before, Sheriff Orban agrees to double the amount, and thus Charles agrees to continue the hunt for the beast and kill it. Seeing all of that, Daniel decides to follow the group, and after introducing himself, offers his services to help the hunters, but his offer is rejected. He goes to where the doctor is, who has in his possession many body parts. He intends to study them and find a possible cure for such an infection. Daniel does not believe it is possible to reverse it, but the doctor says yes, and offers a letter of study at the medical school for the young man to study and become a doctor. However, Daniel is determined to join the hunt for the werewolf and intends to use his intelligence to help his village. He thanks the doctor for the teachings and then leaves. Charles's group is staying in the best house in the village, a place of pleasure and drinks. One of them continues to tell his adventure and hunting stories of the creatures when Daniel's mother, who works in the service, suffers a confrontation from a drunken man. However, Charles asks him to stay away from the woman, and seeing that he is one of the hunters, the man does not dare to confront him. He tries to touch Kasia, but she quickly shows that she does not play around and threatens him with a knife to his throat. Later, when Charles goes to get some fresh air with some of his friends, Daniel approaches and offers his help once again. Stefan says that more than intelligence is needed to hunt a werewolf, but this time Charles asks more about the creature that attacked the village. The group talks with Daniel, who says what he knows, and there with them are other hunters and the sheriff. Daniel shows the map where there have already been attacks before and claims that the beast's attacks are more instinctive, so Charles says they will lure the creature to them. The next morning, Daniel is confronted by Eva about the fact that he is with the hunters, claiming that it is dangerous. Daniel responds by saying that he will help the hunters for her and the village is good, then leaves and goes to the doctor's morgue to show the bite marks from the beast on the bodies. After examining the victim, Daniel claims that the creature measures more than 2 meters, and with that, Charles needs larger traps and needs them quickly, as the full moon is approaching, bringing forth the werewolf. The hunters head into the forest and begin constructing traps to capture or kill the beast. After preparing everything, they just need the bait to lure the creature, so the group asks Daniel to go to the village morgue and bring some parts from dead bodies. Meanwhile, in the doctor's office, he offers medicine to Vedoma, Daniel's mother, since she complains of pain. Back to Daniel, he infiltrates the morgue and steals body parts and then takes them to the hunters. However, before he leaves the village, he is seen by Eva, who is curious about her friend's activities and follows him. Daniel reaches where Kasia and Stefan are, and approaching the woman, she asks him to hide her clothes. Soon the scene is seen by Eva, who, not quite understanding the situation, becomes jealous. Leaving, she is invited by Stefan to accompany her to her house, and seeing this, Daniel receives a slight rejection from his friend. The hunters then get ready to head into the forest in search of the beast, but they make it clear that Daniel will not accompany them. Without them seeing, some men are watching them, waiting to follow them to kill the creature themselves. Stefan takes Eva to his residence and bids her farewell gently. Meanwhile, Daniel, at home, prepares a blade for himself. In the forest, the clandestine hunters wait for the moment to surprise Charles's group, and soon the full moon night approaches, with people preparing for the next beast's attack. Night falls, and a group of men are playing in the club where Vedoma works. Meanwhile, Charles's hunters position themselves in the forest. Daniel at home reads a little about the creature's history and how it appears. The scene shifts to the sheriff, who loads his gun with silver bullets, but suddenly begins to feel unwell. In the darkness of the forest, the men seeking a reward for capturing the creature do not realize they are already close to the terrible beast. The group hears growling sounds and continues the search. Charles spots them ahead but does not draw their attention. However, the beast being nearby quickly captures an owl, alerting the men who, unprepared, initiate an unusual attack, but this only drives the beast away. Unfortunately, the intruding hunters trigger the traps, and some of them end up dead. One is captured by Charles, and confronted for the foolishness they have committed, but he reflects that the beast is smarter than they thought. At Vedoma's workplace, she disappears for a moment, and a man calls her to serve them, but she does not appear. A few minutes later, when they are already drunk, the men are attacked and thrown out of the window. Daniel wakes up hearing loud howls and terrified. He runs into the forest. He heads to Eva's house, but when she approaches to open the large gate, Daniel is dragged away by the beast. Fortunately, it is just a nightmare, and Daniel wakes up the next morning. His mother comes home and gives the news that the brothel where she works has been attacked. In the village, Daniel tells Charles that the gypsies know more about the creature and can provide information to them. Meanwhile, the surviving hunter emerges from a coffin, in which he was placed by Charles's group. Moments later, we see Daniel and Charles heading to the gypsy settlement, and at first, they are not well received, but they say they came to see their leader. They are taken to Furka, who tells them that the beast was not transformed into a werewolf, as it was born with that curse, being stronger and smarter. Furka claims that with each lunar day that passes, the beast becomes stronger and says that one day, it may transform whenever it wants, at any moment. The gypsy warns the hunters that in 2 days, the winter solstice will arrive and make the night longer, thus making the bestial creature stronger and unstoppable. The man says that before the moon rises, the being will show signs of its transformation. Charles thanks him, but Furka says he helped because of Daniel and tells the young man that legend spoke of a warrior capable of killing a similar beast, affirming that only one can do what others cannot, which is to kill the werewolf creature. After the conversation, the two return to the village. In one of the bars, many men gather and claim that the hunters are useless, so they need to take action to destroy the beast themselves. Suddenly, everyone pays attention to Sheriff Orban's speech, who shows he is better. Seeing that the people are restless and wanting to do something, the sheriff says he has a plan. Meanwhile, Daniel infiltrates the medical office to look at the records, when the doctor appears questioning the young man's presence there. Daniel says the attacks show a pattern, reporting that in the village, only the men from the brothel were killed. Even with the claims, the doctor does not help. Then Daniel goes to talk to Charles about what he discovered, and categorically states that the victims were thieves, liars, and men of ill character. Charles doubts this claim, but the young man says they already know the beast has intelligence, so it cannot be denied. Charles begins to believe in Daniel, noticing the shady hunter who survived the previous attack, and then formulates a plan. Meanwhile, the sheriff tells everyone that one of the people in the village is the creature, and after investigating, he found some suspects, among them Eva's father, the gypsy leader, and Daniel's mother. The plan is to keep these people locked up until night passes, and if it is one of them, they will know who the beast is. Surprisingly, the sheriff himself is imprisoned by his men, leaving him as one of the suspects for not having an alibi on the previous night. Charles's group studies the acquired information. Soon Daniel appears and says they have found a possible lair of the creature in the ruins. Moments later, Charles prepares to depart with his group of hunters, but once again, Daniel is rejected from going with them, although he is given a weapon to defend himself. The surviving hunter named Jiger is kidnapped by Charles's hunters and taken to be bait in the new trap for the creature. Jiger, seeing he will be used for that, apologizes for having disturbed them before, but Charles is determined to use him as bait. Daniel approaches the ruins and observes Charles's group, soon looking for a place to hide. Night soon falls, and the hunters prepare, positioning themselves in specific points. The moon is grand in the sky, and a strange hooded figure also approaches the ruins. It doesn't take long for him to enter the place and capture young Daniel. Meanwhile, in the station, the imprisoned men are anxious as the night progresses, fearing that they are near the beast. Suddenly, the sheriff starts to feel ill again, and seeing this, the guards fear he is the werewolf, shooting at him, and losing their minds. They also kill the others inside the cell, leaving only the gypsy and Daniel's mother. Badoma asks to help the prisoners to see if any are still alive, but as soon as they open the cell, she runs quickly and escapes. The gypsy is left behind, believing that Badoma is the evil that haunts the village. It doesn't take long for the creature to emerge from the ruins, revealing its true form. The hunters begin to attack her, and being quick, she manages to dodge the shots. The terrified Jiger manages to free himself from his bindings and crawls along the ground while the feared werewolf attacks Charles, who narrowly escapes. However, the beast shows that it does not want him as a victim, and after knocking down the other two hunters, it goes after Jiger, mercilessly attacking him mortally. The hunters resume their attack and cause the beast to retreat. After the tense moment, the group reflects that in fact, the creature does not want to kill them. Stefan tells Charles that before the attack began, he saw Daniel hiding nearby, and soon after a few minutes the beast appeared. This statement makes them consider Daniel as a possible suspect for being the werewolf. In the next scene, we see Daniel waking up in his bed. This time he has wounds on his body, and upon examining them, he realizes that they were acquired during the attack the night before. With confused thoughts and feeling like the beast, Daniel becomes scared. Imagining that he is the feared evil terrorizing his village, he falls into despair. The next morning, police transport the bodies of the dead out of the prison, among them is Eva's father. Returning to Daniel, he is in his house, but before leaving, he is stopped by his mother, who already knew that he is the true beast. He confronts her, but soon runs out of the place. Charles, in the medical office, receives support for his injured arm, and after leaving, Stefan confronts him about Daniel being the werewolf. Both think the young man is the beast, but Stefan wants to finish the boy off quickly while Charles asks his hunting friend for patience. Moments later, Charles finds Daniel at the Horse Tavern. The young man laments having caused so much harm and awaits the hunter's sentence. However, before Charles can shoot, the doctor shoots the hunter, saving Daniel's life, and reveals that he always knew he was the werewolf and that actually he himself trained him to be cruel to thieves, liars, and evil men of the village. Daniel does not accept the truth and runs away from the doctor's presence. At Eva's house, she is taken by surprise by Stefan, who leaves her fearful with his presence there. It doesn't take long for her to start suffering from an attempted caresses against her will. Fortunately, she wounds Stefan and pushes him away. At that moment, Daniel enters the house and fights the hunter but is easily defeated. However, the young man does not give up, and in a lucky blow, he throws the hunter out through the glass window. After Stefan leaves, Daniel begins to feel unwell, but he approaches Eva and gives her a silver dagger he made, telling her that if the beast appears, the weapon can kill the creature. He then kisses her and leaves. In the forest, Daniel walks among the trees, and while the doctor searches for him, the experienced Stefan finds him first and strikes the young man, making him faint. Later that night, we see Daniel chained and hanging from a tree, with Stefan and others surrounding him. Also there is Eva, who has been forcibly brought to the location. Daniel urges everyone to flee from that area, as this time he will not choose his victims, and everyone will die. When the full moonlight hits him, he begins his transformation into the terrifying werewolf beast. The people seeing the ferocious creature become scared but do not leave the place. However, Eva manages to escape. Before going after her, Stefan orders the armed men to kill the creature. When the villagers approach the beast, Vidoma arrives at the scene and tries to convince everyone that Daniel is not to blame, as he was born like this since his father was infected by a werewolf. Meanwhile, Eva hides within the ruins, and Stefan follows her closely, and it does not take long for him to capture her. The beast Daniel breaks free and heads toward the ruins, and his mother, protecting him, is hit by gunfire. Some men follow the creature into the tunnels but are quickly killed mercilessly by it. Stefan drags Eva into a cave, and when the beast approaches them, Stefan, with astounding strength, throws the werewolf to the ground. Eva is astonished by the scene, and then he explains that it is something else. When the beast injures him on the face, Stefan demonstrates surprising healing abilities, and his previous wounds heal instantly. Showing part of his ferocious form, it is revealed that the hunter has canine fangs, and using his strength, he fights against the beast Daniel. He says that he has been hunting werewolves for over 100 years, and this time the hunt will be unmatched. He drags Eva to another location and then goes into battle with the creature. The beast surprises him and throws him against the columns, fiercely scratching him. However, his strength is not enough to stop him. When Stefan tries to attack Eva, the beast Daniel pushes him against a wooden stake and leaves him pinned to the wall. Thus, with his heart destroyed, Stefan is killed and becomes dust. Eva picks up the blade Daniel gave her and, seeing the beast, tries to talk to it, hoping that Daniel will listen to her and not harm her. Knowing that with each lunar cycle the werewolf grows stronger, Eva believes that Daniel can control himself now, so she drops the blade and offers her hand as support. Suddenly the doctor arrives at the scene and commands the beast to sit down, just as dog trainers do. The doctor explains that when the young man's mother sought him, at first he helped her by sedating Daniel at every full moon, but seeing his potential, he trained the creature to do what he wanted. After revealing the truth, the doctor says that Eva knows everything, so she needs to die, and when he orders the beast to kill the young woman, the creature disobeys his command, prompting him to grab his weapon to shoot. Fortunately, Hunter Charles appears and shoots the man, thus killing him. When he and the other hunters appear to finish off the werewolf, Eva stops them, giving the creature time to show that it can revert to human form. Accepting Eva's request to spare Daniel's life, Charles agrees not to kill him. He then hands his wolf necklace to the young man, offering him the chance to become a hunter. While Daniel thanks Eva for her help and kisses her, Charles heads outside the ruins, killing the infected men and knowing that the hunt is not over yet. Thanks for watching Nacho's movie recaps. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. Share your thoughts or requests in the comments below. See you next time.